Hi guys, let me cover the question number 2 of the AP Macroeconomics 2022, the set 1. So here, take a look at the question number 2. Assume that commercial banks must hold a minimum of the 20% of their deposit as a reserves. That's a requirement of the deposit. Okay. And then now suppose that the central bank of the country sells $100,000, so sells $100,000 government bonds to commercial banks. So then the question is that an expansionary monetary policy or the contractionary monetary policy? In other words, in the market, money supply is an increase or decrease? Well, let me visualize the situation. Here, the blue one is a central bank, and then the red one is a market, or you can think that that's a combination of the commercial banks. So just the central banks, this country sells $100,000 of the government bonds. That means that they give them the bonds. Here, bonds goes to the market, and this market, the commercial banks, they need to pay to the central bank. So the central bank just received $100,000, right? That means that money supply is a decrease. That's a contraction monetary policy. Central banks sells the bonds to the market. That's a contraction monetary policy. Central banks buy the bonds from the market or from the commercial banks. That's an expansion monetary policy. That's a big picture of this question. Now let's take a look at question number 8. Calculate the maximum change and state the direction of the change in the money supply. We already found that the change of the direction of the change in money supply, that is a shift to the left. Money supply is decreased. Okay. So how can you find the answer? So you probably memorize a money multiplier. In this case, the reserve deposit ratio is a 20%. So that means that 1/0.2 times the change of the money. So that is a bond sale, and the government, so the central bank sells $100,000 government bond. So then we denote a negative $100,000. That is negative $500,000. And this is basically the infinite sum of the geometric series. You can think that the first bank get the $100,000, and then they keep the $20,000 as a deposit, and they give the loan $80,000 to the second bank. And then the second bank they keep the 20%, and they give the loan to the third bank, and so on and so forth. That's an infinite series of the geometric series, and you can find the infinite sum of the geometric series. That's why the formula is a 1 over a over 1 minus r. So that's the formula. Okay. Now let's go to the question number B. Now we need to draw the graph, the money market graph, and explain what happened. So let me start with the money market graph. So money market graph, the y-axis is a nominal interest rate, and then the x-axis, the quantity of money. Okay? And we have a downward sloping money demand curve, and we have a vertical money supply curve. The reason that we have a downward sloping money demand curve, well, nominal interest rate is high, then you don't want to hold the money on your hand. You better put that money into the saving account or CD to make a profit from the interest. But on the other hand, when the nominal interest rate is low, then there's not that benefit that you have to put your money into the saving account. So in that case, you don't have the incentive. So that being said, it's better to hold the money, so the money demand is high. On the other hand, the money supply curve is a vertical because it's controlled by the central bank. But we just verified that that's a contraction monetary policy when the central bank sells the government bonds. So that means that we need to shift this money supply curve to the left. So this one, let me call it MS2. As a result, what happened? Interest rate was I1, but now we have a higher interest rate I2. Okay, that's the answer. Now, question number C. Given the change in the money supply in part A, if the velocity of money is constant, what will happen to the nominal gross domestic product? Well, this question asks you about the nominal GDP, and they give you this situation that velocity is a constant, right? Then you need to use a quantity equation, which is the following. So the question number C, we need to use the MV equals PY that we call the quantity equation or the quantity theory money. The quantity equation or the quantity theory of money. They are the same of money. So MV equals PY. Now, we just verify that the M is decreased because the central bank, they sell the bonds, but they assume that the velocity is fixed. Then what happened to the right-hand side? Because the left-hand side is decreased, in order to keep this identity, this equality, this P times Y has to be decreased. And this P times Y, we call it nominal GDP. So the answer is the nominal GDP is decreased, and P times Y, that's the nominal GDP. Nominal GDP. Price times the output is the nominal GDP. That being said, the Y itself is a real GDP. Okay. Now, question number D. Based on the change in nominal GDP product in part C, what happens to the price level if the real GDP product is constant? Well, we just verify that price times the output, that's a nominal GDP, is a decrease, but they said that this output, the real GDP, stays there. That means that price has to be decreased in order to have a lower nominal GDP. So the price decrease. So that's the answer. That's it for the second question of the 2022 AP Macro exam set 1.